Hey guys, it's Christina. This is Vox and Guest, and I am joined not from a ski lodge, but from Tom's room, I guess, wherever it is, Tom's chilly room,
Dungeon.
and dungeon. There you go, Tom's dungeon. And Damo, you look like you're in at least above ground, so that's a very good thing.
I'm in the dungeon room.
Luxurious fellows are here from Rhinoceros, so say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to finally have you on. You booked a long time ago, and it's finally here, so we get to have some fun. So why don't you very quickly, if you can, just tell everybody what each of you does in the band quickly, and we'll get back to more of that later. I say that as a caveat because every time Tom and I have a conversation, there's nothing quick about it between the two of us. So. Give it a go. Try quickly. Keep it to under 4 or 5 hours. That would be.
You go first, Tom. You go first.
I'll be here forever. Bit of everything. There you go.
There you go. See, look how quick that was. Tom does a bit of everything. Okay, Damo, what about you?
I think I'm the kind of spiritual guide of the bands and the kind of moral center of the band. You know, I keep it fixed, keep it on the ground. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you're like the creamy center of the Orient.
Yeah, and I'm also a bit like Bez in Happy Mondays. I do the dancing as well. You know, the on-stage dancing. All the groove comes from me. Do you know what I mean?
So you got the legs. Okay, that's good.
I love those. But no, seriously. Tom's the main inspiration to it. It's a lot of Tom's we met in another band and I could really see the creativity of Tom and the lyrics he writes and the tunes he puts together, and he's got a fantastic voice. So I just like backing him up on the guitar and just, or the bass, and just like hanging out and playing, and it's just good fun, have a few coffees and a few chats and try to make some good music, something original. Really?
There you go. Okay, so look at that. We can take from that, we can extricate that Tom is the singer, the songwriter. You play guitar too, right, Tom?
Yeah.
And then we've got Damo, who will do bass and occasionally guitar if he needs to, and hold everything morally and spiritually together.
Yeah, and we kind of co-write stuff as well. We started co-writing stuff as well. Started, either lyrics or music or stuff like that. Bit of co-writing going on, which is quite nice. Quite a nice thing. I haven't done that really before, so it's a nice avenue to explore, really.
Yeah, no, that's a true partnership. I like that. So, all right, listen. Before we get into the meat of the interview, I begin, as regular viewers know, every episode with a hard-hitting, important, serious, meaningful. Tom is leaving. He's leaving. He's going. You're gonna end up in an amp somewhere. I begin hard. I do, because I feel like if we can get the really difficult stuff out of the way at the beginning, it'll relax you, and then we can just enjoy ourselves for the rest of the time. So, are you both ready for this question? Okay, here we go. Is a muffin a healthy breakfast food, or is it actually just a slutty naked cupcake?
I think it depends whether it's battered or not.
Whole meal.
It's whether your muffin's battered or not. That's
muffin. Yeah, wholemeal muffin. That's fine. Otherwise, slutty.
Okay, so what I'm getting here is two different approaches. We have, if it's a wholemeal, which I'm going to think of now as a wholesome muffin, then it's a muffin. If it's buttered, which I love the euphemistic possibilities of that. If it's a buttered muffin, then it's slutty.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
What if it's wholemeal though?
Oh, no, so now we do have to do that. What about a buttered wholemeal muffin? What are we doing now?
If it's a wholemeal muffin, it's fine. If it's not, it's slutty.
So you are not butter based. You are purely meal based. But now, Damo, if it is a buttered wholemeal muffin, you still think it's...
I don't know. I don't know.
About the brain.
I don't ruin the vibe. It's ruining the vibe for me, putting that wholemeal stuff in there, Muffin...
I'm not doing it. I'm just working out whether it's slutty or not.
But
it's really the question.
I'd obviously go after the slutty one, but it's like, there's nothing I can do,
You want a cheap, white bread one, You want something that has no goodness in it. You don't want goodness in a muffin, It's early in the morning. You know, it's got to come out.
Jam on the muffin.
Yeah, you know what? Let's before we've overtouched the muffin, let's roll on from that because we do want to stay on YouTube at some point. But okay, so we've got a divided band, which that's okay because on the rest of things, you guys seem to be pretty well in sync, muffins aside. So I am curious to begin at the very beginning. So talk to me about how each of you got into music in the first place, and then obviously how you met, which is I know a whole story. So.
Do you want to go first, D?
No, you go first, Tom, man.
Okay. For me, I started when I was at school. The obligatory school band, which one of the members strangely dropped everything up a few years ago, and it sounded really good apart from me.
Oh no!
So there you go. But
what were you doing in the band?
I've been a singer in a front band,
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
For years and years and years. That carried on. I've been in several bands and went to college. I went to art school and was in a band. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that one. I almost got thrown out of art school. So I decided that being in a band should stop and I should finish my art school.
Probably a good idea at the time, yeah.
No, I think that's the most terrible decision I've ever made. But basically, I came very, very close to sort of getting record contracts back.
Right.
Each time it fell through right at the last minute.
Yeah.
It was from like a massive major company.
So frustrating.
That was something else. It was like they asked us to come in, and again there were two of us. When I came in to break the news to my partner, he said, I'm leaving, and I thought, okay, he wants to leave, so I'm not going to tell him about this.
Yeah, that kind of solves its own problem, I guess.
It's like, okay. And then the second one was like, we're going to rip the band in half and stick you with somebody else. And
wow.
I was too involved in that band, and it was about all of us. So
so they offered you a contract, but you would have to drop your.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Wow, that's loyalty you rarely find.
It's about being in a band, and you're a unit, so it's really important.
That's exactly right.
You know, maybe I should have gone stepping on people's heads and stuff, but and the third one was probably the best one, which was like I was doing sort of industrial metal.
Okay,
and
that I did not know. Okay,
yeah, and that was really strange, and it was like an independent metal label, quite famous. And they basically said, you got to do this and got to do that and got to do that. And basically, it was like, it's no joke. I was trying to work out if they were trying to make us into a boy band.
Oh, no.
and it was like, nah, I'm not doing that.
I kind of now desperately want to see what an industrial metal boy band would be like. I think I need that in my life now that I know that those words could go together, that we may need to.
That's come out into the ether. It's like, you know.
we're manifesting it. We're manifesting it. Tomorrow, you two are going to wake up wearing matching silk collarless shirts.
I got the moose.
That's it. It's true. You're already dancing, so you're good. With just, get a spin in there.
So yeah, this real sort of core metal label was like, okay. So then I went to finish my college course, my uni course. Went off in disgust at the music industry.
Yeah, I'll blame you.
Spent years out of it. I moved abroad. Then I was always fiddling around on the guitar anyway. I'm self-taught as well, so I'm always picking it up and playing with it. Mm-hmm. I kind of left it alone for a good long time, and then somebody found out that I was in a band, and
you also had like a top 30 hit in Japan. Am I right about that?
Why? Apparently, this is allegedly. I was told this.
Okay.
And it was session work that I did once, And it was awful. It was absolutely awful. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I'm not even going to describe what it is.
Okay.
Well, all I can say is if it went top 30 in Japan, that could have been Japanese hospital radio for all that. No. Okay. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
It's like, thank you very much.
Music to be miserable by or to convalesce by. All right.
It was like a high energy dance track. And it was like, here come.
Oh.
Very, very dodgy cover. That's all I can say. I was a session musician. Okay. It was like,
It's like being a buttered muffin at that point. You get hired for what you get hired for. And,
I was a slathered buttered muffin.
Look at you. Slathering. Okay.
And syrup. Okay. So
beyond moist. I understand. Okay.
That's what I've heard.
Okay. So they discovered you were in music and kind of went, hey, Tom, why don't you still do this anymore, right?
It was like, oh, yeah. Where I was, it's very music orientated. They go outside and they sit around a campfire and guitars come out, everybody sings.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, really cool. Totally changed my perspective on music as well. It was more natural.
It kind of brought you back to the basics, right? Like it's just people with their instruments, their voices, focusing on the music.
It was people entertaining themselves, entertaining others.
Yeah.
That was like lots of blues, lots of all sorts of things, country, lots of really strange stuff. It was in Africa as well, so those.
Oh wow!
Incredible influences.
Amazing. Did they have? I'm assuming percussionists as well, or
yeah. So you get lots of drummers, a djembe drummer.
Yeah.
Things like that, and it's very, very natural, really natural, and it's a rhythm of life, total rhythm of life.
Like Graceland.
Graceland. Which is really like
them off, man. He ripped them off.
I was on Graceland.
But no, I mean, I hear you though, because especially after having been burned thrice, you were and walking away from it, I could see where, it sounded like all of the shit that got in the way was just industry bullshit for you. It was, oh, well, either we want you to be something that you're not, or we want you to be in a band with the people that you are, but not. And like, it's too easy to get away from music when you're in the music business.
It was business. It was business over the music.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That kills it every time.
But I was young. It's everybody's dream. It still is everybody's dream.
Right.
So, that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely nothing you can do about that.
Right.
So anyway, people found out that I did this, did that. We're playing a gig, having a few people round. Can you come and play?
Okay.
Well, no,
Okay.
listen, yeah, all right. Feel a bit dodgy about this. And you played to like 100 people. It's like,
But I mean, from the discussion that we had, it was you were getting back into things like, just sort of festivals and just yourself and just reconnecting to that love of music. But even there, you were with some fairly notable names on occasion, right? You were kind of pulled back in quickly, it seems like.
It's so because it's quite jazz and blues based. There's a very, very big scene and international people, easily international people. I knew a few people, so I mean they're professional musicians.
There you go.
Professional. They do it for a living.
They have the card and everything.
Oh yeah, and it's like, oh, how are you doing? And do you want to come up and do this? And do you want to come up and do that? And it's like, yeah, all right. Total imposter syndrome. It's like, when are they going to boot me off?
Oh my God, that's the worst, isn't it? No matter how good you get, no matter how well you do, if you are saddled with that idea that you really aren't actually that good or really aren't actually worth any of that, it never goes away.
Not that good, you know. And it's like,
They ain't good, mate.
well, I survived, you know. I survived all these moments, and it's like then they had people coming in from abroad, and they were like, "Hey, man, you were great. You sucked at that, but you were really good at that." And it was
Okay.
like, thank you. All right,
Thank you, and fuck you, and yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I got my footing back into it.
Right.
Like, I was writing songs, and
Right.
because
You've only been back in it for a little while now, right? It's only been a couple years.
sort of stepping up to gear. No, I've started writing again. I mean, this was over a decade ago. One thing I could always do is write songs. I was always good at that.
But actually putting them out is pretty new, right?
Yes and no.
It depends on which songs we're talking about, right?
They're still playing in Japan.
5 minutes, I think.
Japan, yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? Well, we can get to that. Let's. So we've set the scene now. You began young. You knew what you wanted to do. You almost reached for the star 3 times. You got just shat out, as the industry is wont to do, and just basically walked away from it. And then your friends pulled you back in, and now you're here. And so, Damo, how about you? How did you get into music in the first place?
I was at medical school, and we had a lull in the work, really. We worked hard for a couple of years, and then there was a couple of years it was less work, really.
Okay.
So my mates started. It was a little Britpop era, you know. Everybody wanted a guitar in those days. Everyone was playing. Oasis were coming out. We were seeing all these good bands.
Okay.
And my mate started his band, and he says, "Damien, can you play an instrument?" I said, "No, I can play the harmonica, but that's about it, you know." And he's like, "Oh, we don't really need a harmonica. That's not cool for Britpop, you know." He goes, "Well,
not really in the aesthetic of Britpop, yeah.
I wanted a blues heart back then, do you know what I mean?"
Today is gonna be the day. Yeah, you don't really. Yeah.
No visionaries in the mid-90s.
Super hot. Are they gonna just bedazzled like a harmonica for you? We could have. If I had been managing you, Damo, we would have made.
I'd have been on the harp. We'd have made the harp sexy. We'd have made it.
That's right. We would have buttered it. That's right. So okay, so you were not allowed to play the harmonica.
No. So
did you?
So they gave me the bass, right? They said, you know, like you give the idiot of the band the bass, right? It's so easy to play. Let's give you the bass, right?
Bass players never get any love, even from bass players.
That is, yeah, exactly, you know. So I got the bass. I bought this old bass off somebody, and I just fell in love with it. I just really fell in love with it. My mate was on the drums. My other mate was writing. He was a pretty good guitarist. He wasn't a great singer, but he was a good guitarist. Wrote some great stuff. Started gigging in London. We played in the Marquee in London. We started playing, you know, on a bit of a scene. And then the work kicked in. The medical school exams kicked in. And it all kind of died off then, you know. So we were starting to write some good stuff, but we all kind of fell apart. And then you'd have a family, all that kind of stuff. And then about 10 years ago, picked up the bass again. And I'm in North Wales and started playing with a local band called Last Approach. They were like an indie band, good band. We used to rehearse and play and record, and we got a shot down in London in a studio. And it was all good, and everyone was talking it up as a good thing, and we were all going for it. And at the time, we were sharing a studio at that time with an unknown rapper. I don't know can I say his name or not?
I mean, he's not here, so yeah, go for it.
It was Tiny Temple, whatever his name is, that guy, yeah. And he was doing one session. We were doing like the Saturday. He had it the Sunday. Anyway, on the Sunday, him and his mates misbehaved pretty badly, and got up to all kinds of things. And the studio guy was not happy about it, so he kicked the whole lot of us out. And we got tainted with the same brush.
What the hell? You weren't even involved with Tiny Tim or whatever this guy was. Okay.
They were getting up to no good on the Sunday.
Okay.
We were good boys from North Wales on the Saturday, but they didn't discriminate the behaviour. So we were all kicked out of this studio.
No.
then
Street humor.
packed up to North Wales, and it all kind of fell apart after we knocked some good stuff out, but it just didn't bite after that. And then the guys didn't want to do any live stuff or anything like that. So then I joined a blues kind of voodoo band, which was quite good. Played some bass in that. We had a fantastic keyboard player called Ben, still playing around, and that was a really good period. And then that all fell apart, and then I joined a punk acoustic band.
Okay.
And we used to go to like these it was one of those kind of bands that like was always looking for causes. So we were constantly, anybody had a cause, we were there with our guitars. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Odd. It was a bit odd. It was like two married couples and me. So it always felt a bit odd. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds like the beginning of a sketchy movie, but okay, yeah, all right.
It was like being an ABBA, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was definitely some tensions going on.
Yeah, that's a whole lot to manage.
Yeah.
One married couple can be enough, but two is a whole other
Married
thing.
couple. It was a little bit odd. And we used to play some of these dive bars and all these kind of right-on gigs we used to always go to.
Okay.
Anyway, that kind of fell apart after a while. And
Sensing a theme between the two.
yeah, there's a theme. That fell apart.
No, they're still going.
So that fell. You've got these guys, don't you? They're big. They play a lot around Cranwist and stuff.
Red Hot Dead.
Yeah, Red Hot Dead. Nice lads. Good
Give them a
lads.
shout out.
Give her a shout out. Yeah, nice couples. Nice couple of couples. So yeah, hang out with them, and then I think then the pandemic all happened. A bit busy in the old pandemic.
Yeah.
And then got back in, started playing with the old guys from a few years ago, some more bass blues and stuff like that. And then Tom came and joined us for a little bit. There was a little bit of an artistic difference.
Kerfuffle, yes, and kerfuffle. We're gonna go with kerfuffle, yes.
A little bit of a kerfuffle. But I could see Tom's talent. I could see that he had a fucking fantastic voice, wrote great songs, adapted great songs. But he didn't have the right pair of shoes apparently, or something like that. There's something. There was some major disagreement about the shoes.
You look like a 14-year-old emo.
I love that we've been talking for like 15 minutes or whatever, and you've had like 3 costume changes so far. There's a new hat. Now we don't have the jacket. I don't even want to know what's going on with the pants. It could be anything or nothing, but yeah. So, okay. But all right. So yes, we've got the emo kid going. All right. So then you guys had met,
so
played together, and then the kerfuffle occurred.
Yeah, the kerfuffle got so I said, I could see that Tom can write really good stuff, can sing well, is keen, is interested. And we just hang out and just enjoy just writing stuff and putting stuff together, really. It's been great fun. Really enjoying it.
Yeah. No, I mean, wow. Okay. So, I mean, the two of you, I won't say you had similar trajectories, but you definitely shared some, yeah, I mean, that's because it's, I think with anything in life, if you have it and lose it, or you almost get it and don't, it can either embitter you or it can make you just immensely grateful for what you get when you get it. And it sounds like you guys have landed in mainly the area of, you know what, this is supposed to be fun and this is supposed to be a benefit to life and enhance things. And we want to make good music and we want to get along with each other. Because we've all been in that band where you fucking hate each other, or there's that one guy that everybody wants to, push off the stage or whatever. And life's too short to play music with people that you don't like or don't agree with, or I just feel that way. So I like that you guys kind of came together embattled but not jaded, which is nice, because it makes a lot of sense to me too, because the music is so not jaded. It's so not, we've done this, we whatever. There's something very open and honest about everything that I listened to from Rhinoceros, which was everything. There are a lot of songs. And before we get into that, since everyone in the chat is going to be clamoring for the song, why don't we let everybody who may not have already heard Rhinoceros, or who knows Rhinoceros and loves Rhinoceros and wants to hear more Rhinoceros, hear a song. So why don't one of you, both of you, whichever, just say a little something about the year you changed. That came out April this year?
Yeah, so that was probably one of our first collaborations, really. So again, just hanging out with Tom, not something I'd normally done. I just thought, right, I'm going to write some lyrics. And I remember, how do you write lyrics? And I remember somebody said once, well, if you write poetry, you can write lyrics. And if you can just write something. So I kind of didn't write lyrics. I thought, I'll write a poem that will, and then I gave it. And I had the confidence. I just knew Tom wouldn't take the piss out of it, wouldn't put it down. And
yeah, you trust him. Yeah.
So I said, some lyrics. And then within a week or something, he made this fantastic song, added to it, changed it, developed it. I was like blown away.
Yeah. Well, and well, you know what? Let's play it, and then we'll get into it, because there's a neat little factoid about the song and the timeline of the song that you guys will want to hear. But let's let you enjoy The Year You Changed by Rhinoceros.
Changed when blown like the leaves, trapped in corners, rotting away, hanging on for a new year. Many moons, a connection disconnected, sunless rooms, doors open to the unexpected. Change, shed like a powdered skin, inseparable but separated, changing of the seasons again. So many moons, a connection disconnected, endless rooms, doors open to the unexpected. Goodbye, my love. There's no more complications. Just dry those tears. Don't speak those conversations. If you married me, where would we be now? If you married me, hope for us to check in with new smells, embracing the music's warm nights and futures plainly discarded. At your leisure, you're chasing the next life. So many moons, a connection disconnected, endless rooms, doors open to the unexpected. Goodbye, my love. There's no more complications. Just try those tears. Don't speak those conversations. If you married me, where would we be now? If you married me, changed, skating on the barrels of thin ice, echoes of eternity, sounding out deeper in the distance. The year you changed, broken ground you're stumbling through, and leaving me wait around. You should only you married me, where would we be?
So I have to say, when Tom and I were back and forth, just sort of planning out the interview and timing and everything, Tom, you had an interesting question for me, which was, he's got shades on. Okay. Later on, I'm expecting long blonde hair, just if I can put in a request.
We'll see a bit.
We'll see. But, Tom had a question for me, and it was basically something along the lines of like, what do we sound like? Who do we sound like? What do we sound like to you? And he's like, don't answer now, but I'm going to be interested in what you think about that question. And I have to say, and I'm always hesitant to do this because you never know what you consider to be a compliment someone else is going to take not that way. But I have to say, in listening to The Year You Changed and most of the music, actually, the band that I kept being reminded of most, not that it's derivative or anything like that, is U2. And Tom, you sound so much like Bono to me sometimes that I'm like, is he fucking with me? Like, what? There are a couple and it's a lot of songs where there's that, you have that kind of that low gritty, you have that timbre, but there are some songs where I'm like, oh my God, you sound exactly like him, which is obviously a good thing because, they're moderately popular, U2. They've done okay for themselves. So yeah, so
Glory flat.
I'll have the droppings from you two.
yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Pretty man.
That's it. Whatever falls on the floor, we're all just going to gather up. Yeah, but and I mean this song is no different to me in that regard. That I could hear The Year You Changed along with a bunch of other Rhinoceros tunes being on like a compilation of U2 album. And I only ever make comparisons when they're favorable, first of all. And your reaction seemed good. It wasn't like you were like, oh my God, you too, So, but I mean, I know some people don't like them, but
there's actually a good story behind all this.
Go for it. Okay.
I mean, D said it sounded like Simple Minds.
Oh yeah, I hear some of that too.
Right?
Yeah.
That was his impression of it.
I think I like the way when Tom sings, and there's like you two, obviously. When you two play, you get that magic, right? It's four big guys playing in the band, but there's this magic that comes to it. This kind of soul, this depth of soul that comes through it, And I think Tom, he's such an open guy. He always puts himself out there.
It's so important.
And I think it comes out, that genuine authenticity that he has. It comes out in his music because he puts himself out there, And I think if you put yourself out there,
I agree. That's exactly that's right. Because go Tom. Go Tom.
Chill all that. I'm going to say thank you very much.
Okay.
Blessings. Right.
Now I'm going to disagree.
No, not at all.
Good.
But good. Right. This is being in a band 101. Okay.
Okay.
It's like everybody wants to pigeonhole you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And one of the first questions you'll ever be asked being in a band is, what do you sound like?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like, you doing it. It's like, it sounds like me. It sounds like me.
Right.
It's like me, but
right.
It's not. And people need that identification.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to give you a nice little list of what people have said.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay? Style Council.
I don't know that band. Okay.
The Style Council, Paul Weller.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Sort of jazzy, moddy pop.
And you said the Strokes?
The Strokes.
Okay.
What's the other one? David Bowie.
That was on my list. Yep.
David Bowie. Roger Taylor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I just sound a bit like Roger Taylor.
Yeah, and I also got a little bit of Michael Hutchence in excess too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to add that one in.
Yeah, you can put me on your list.
But the best one,
Tiny Tim, and Celine Dion. Yeah, that was my whole list. That was the
best one that I actually got was sounds like the Smithereens crossed with the Clash.
Okay, we'll take that. Right,
I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Okay, that does actually sum up more what it is for me, anyway.
Okay,
but it's definitely a case of pigeonholing for people when you're doing playlists, when you're doing anything.
Right.
Like, what do you sound like? Who do you sound
Right.
like?
They want to know how to categorize you. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, that's forward thinking. That's really important if you're a new band.
Yeah.
Christina, does it sound British? Has it got a British stamp on it?
You know, it's funny. I don't, even though all of the bands that I thought of ended up being UK bands, basically, I didn't sit there and go, wow, this is so British. Like, it wasn't like that. I mean, there were a few songs that were maybe a little bit punkier where I was like, okay, you know, like here I'm hearing a different influencer. But you guys it's interesting because, I mean, first of all, Tom, your point is a really good one that, you know, you do have to play the game, right? You have to be able to tell people, okay, think this band meets this band meets this band. And so it's funny because a lot of times when, you know, because I mean, I you know, you guys might not know this, but, you know, I when I prep for this show, as everybody in the chat is probably typing this along with me, but I listen to everything. So every you know, Spotify, every Bandcamp, every SoundCloud, every YouTube, everything. So by the time I sit down with you guys, I've heard everything that you've released. And the reason that I do it that way is because I don't feel like I can interview people intelligently unless I really understand the music. And I don't want to start with, so what are some of the songs that you've done? Because I'm curious about, okay, well, I've heard everything. Tell me about, you know, Dark Side of the Sun, you know, and then we'll have that conversation. But like, when I'm listening, I will make associations like that. Like I'll go, okay, you know, this one sounds like U2 to me. This one sounds like a low tempo Soul Asylum, or, you know, this one is
quite a reference.
It is.
Everybody does it.
And you want to be able to feed that to people because it's kind of like what, you know, they call an elevator speech, right? Like, okay, here's who we are. Yeah. And then the idea is, okay, well, I like those bands. All right, I'll give you a listen. And then at least your foot is in the door, right? Yeah. The other point that you made is, well, it's me. It sounds like me. And that's the thing that I think is so difficult about being an original musician, which is, yeah, you want to be successful. Yeah, you want to be likable. Yeah, you want to be popular, but you also want to be you. And if the frame that the industry begins from is, who else do you sound like? You kind of have to sound like somebody else because it's hard to sell. We don't sound like anybody. And then it's like, okay, well, hey, what are we eating for dinner? Well, you'll see. You know, it's like, oh, shit. You know, so like people might not want to go for that. But I think for you guys, like if I'm sitting there going, okay, what's your genre? Could not fucking do it, gun to my head. Like could not. I heard surf rock. I heard grunge and garage. I heard pop. I heard blues. I heard jazziness. I heard, I don't know if I said surf. Like there's obviously just like indie, like there's so much.
What, indie, garage, rock with an occasional jazz chord.
That's right. That's your tagline.
That's not math. It's Collins, is it? All those genres that have GCD unpadded, you know what I mean?
But I mean, you know, I can't put you in a genre. I can't like if you know and genre is a conversation that comes up a lot on this show because some people are wildly convicted about this is what we do. We are a doom metal band. We are a pop punk band. We are and fine, great. And some bands are like, I don't give a fuck about genre or subgenre or whatever. I make my music, and you know I'm not going to follow the rules of the genre.
There's a lot of reasoning behind that. Personally, I don't like it when people shut off themselves.
Yep.
Other people, I hate this thing as you can't like them because
that's right. That's right.
Why can't I like them?
Right.
Music. Everybody. It's made up of water molecules. These water molecules vibrate. They vibrate to music. So certain resonances will affect you. But any music will change you, will change your mood, change your attitude.
Yeah.
You can direct people that way.
Yeah.
I believe in opening yourself up. You embrace everything. Yes, there are certain things I don't particularly like.
Sure, but you're open to them at least.
There's lots that I do like, and I'm not going to say I'm just that.
Right.
Well, yeah.
I don't want those buttered muffins. I want the buttered muffins, the pancakes. What else can I have?
That's right. You'll put butter on anything, Tom. You don't care.
I mean, Rob, we were having a jam a couple of days ago, whatever, and I said, I just heard this. There was a song I liked from the mid-'60s, not a particularly well-known song, and we just played it at a jam.
No, you're gonna have to do more than that. What song was it? Even if we don't.
No.
Oh, okay, all right. No. This is a state secret. Okay, never mind. Roll it back.
It's a state secret. We just rewrote it, and there's another song out of it. So I want to be careful about.
Yeah.
It's a town secret then. Okay, that's fine. All right, so you played it and
I played it, and it wasn't really our genre in the sense that it was quite a folk song.
Okay.
To be honest, a beautiful folk song. And but I just played it, and Tom just grabbed hold of it. He's like, I like that. There's something about that I like.
Yeah.
Started playing it, got the lyrics out, and he just kind of wrapped himself around it, got into it, got what the thing was, develops it, and then I come back a week later and he's added different things to it, put some, and it's just great to see that.
Yeah.
That's just taking like a folk song, which we're not a folk band. We did that.
But who cares? You're a band. You can play whatever the fuck you want. Right? Like that.
Exactly.
It's more encompassing than that. If you want to do folk, I'm going to do folk.
Right.
Yeah. If you look at groups like the Turtles.
Yeah.
Turtles. It's like they did 20 songs on an album. Each one didn't sound that different, but they were meant to be all different.
Right.
It's like, why not?
Right.
Who says you can't do that?
That's right.
I have this ambition to make like a record with 20 tracks on that sound completely different. Almost like one of those strange compilations you used to buy.
Right. Like now that's what I call music 753 or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Like every track is actually you, It's like, what do you sound like? Well, that one.
Exactly. And that's what kind of got me about your question, because I knew obviously some of your music before just from the community and from, just YouTube and things like that. And I'd seen the tribute to George Foreman and all of that. So it's like, all right, if you see one thing that Rhinoceros does, you have no idea what Rhinoceros does because it's just one thing that they do. But your question was an interesting one because I went back and into the prep with that notion of, okay, so he wants to know what I think they sound like or who I think they sound like. And having interacted with you a bit, I got a sense it was not a simple version of that question, which it turned out to be the case. And I thought to myself that to me, one of your signature elements is this idea that when you begin a song, oftentimes a beat will be, relatively similar to something else that you've done. But what comes after that, it could be anything. Like it could be anything at all. And I personally, I do love bands that have a thing, they have a genre, they have a feel, and they do that, and they do pretty much only that, and they do it incredibly well. And I absolutely love and appreciate that. But I also love and appreciate bands that I have affectionately come to call genre promiscuous, where they're not one thing. They're not, okay, I'm a this band or a that band, or I'm a punk musician, or I only play, black metal or whatever. And you guys definitely do defy categorization, but at the same time, the music manages to be, and I mean, again, this in the best of ways, comfortable, familiar, relatable, like something that you can listen to. It's not like you're Philip Glass, like twisting balloon animals and screaming in a field somewhere where it's like, okay, they're doing something. Not yet. Yeah, that's album's free, right? That's what you were doing in rehearsal the other night. I got it now. Okay.
But you're so right, because I played in bands where you come up and you say, right, let's write this. And I'm like, no, that's not our genre. That's too mod, or that's too blues, or that's too rock. We're strictly doing surf and voodoo. That's all we're doing. Everything has to have the same pedal, the same sound, the same beat, and it's just very, very restrictive. If you go down that line, it just is like, it's like putting on a space jacket,
And that's the thing. It's like, if you have if you have an aesthetic, if you have an ethos, if you have a genre that you really genuinely love and you want to get deep and drill down on that, and that's a choice that you're making because that's the kind of music that speaks to you that you want to make, great. If you are basing your decision of genre on what I think ends up ultimately boiling down to fear, because why not try something else? Like your penis isn't going to fall off. Nobody's going to come in and steal your stuff. No, you've tried it and it's still there. So no, right. And I mean, but like that's a thing where it's like, well, this genre has rules. And so if you're this kind of artist, you can't do those kinds of things. And it's like, but who's the arbiter of that? Like, who's going to, the genre police aren't going to show up and go,
It's like when, I love it when bands, right, take a song you just don't think they would ever cover.
Yeah.
And they just do it in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And you think, wow, that just sounds good. They put their complete own stamp on it.
That's right.
Make it much better,
Yeah.
And it's about having that freedom. It's just about having freedom, We all work hard. We all do other things in our lives. We all got other shit going on in our lives.
Yep.
You go to a band that's restrictive and plow in the same trough, it becomes boring, it becomes restrictive, and you're in fear of your audience, and you're like, oh, well, we can't play this because people aren't going to tap their feet to this, or they aren't going to enjoy this, or they aren't going to think we're authentic because, Tom's shoes aren't the same shoes as everybody else's shoes in the band.
All right, I got it. This is the second shoe reference here. And I don't know if you guys want to get into it, but you did begin in a band together that had this kerfuffle, and I'm getting the sense that the kerfuffle was largely shoe-based. So was the third guy like a cobbler or something?
Let's be fair now. See this top?
Yes. I love that you called it a top. See my top. Are you wearing slacks?
The jumper.
The jumper, right? Oh, look, well, we got Dame over here just flashing his lungs. Nice job. Okay.
Do I look like a 14-year-old emo kid?
Not 14, no.
Not 14, 4-year-old emo kid, maybe.
4-year-old emo.
An elder emo, do great respect. We'll go with that.
This is an Iron Fist top. Now, you can go and research Iron Fist.
Very cool. Well, we did a couple of gigs in this band, and Tom was just a standout frontman. It was fantastic. You know what I mean? They were the best gigs I did in that band. Sherlock Holmes. Is that Sherlock Holmes that we've seen before? And
it's a chapeau tour de force. I love it. Okay, keep going, Damo. You're good. I got you.
Well, I was saying, and he just was a standout frontman, just comfortable in front of the band, comfortable when it was going instrumental, just and all, and it's just like it just missed that because he wasn't conforming to wearing exactly the same things. Then, like you say, almost like a surf boy band type vibe. You know what I mean? It was.
That's a really weird reason to bust up a band. So you've got somebody who's comfortable in their own skin, who knows who they are, who is not saying that they can't be anything other than that, and is serving your band the way you want them to, but they haven't gotten like the full Jackson 5 matching outfit situation. Absolutely. And like that. That is a really weird fucking, okay. Yeah. All right. I don't really. Okay. That's a super bizarre. I didn't know if it was a musical issue, but it wasn't either. This was purely wardrobe based. Okay.
Because the George Foreman song kind of came out of that, that was just an instrumental track, but then Tom got hold of it, put some amazing, mind-blowing lyrics to it, and then made a video. I've never seen the video.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Fantastic,
I feel like I'm going insane right now. I love it. By the end, he's going to be naked, just with a macaroni belt and the shoes that he was supposed to wear for the other band, and that's it. That's all you're going to be wearing.
Do not adjust your steps.
Don't own
shoes.
You don't own any shoes at all? You are a barefoot individual, just perpetually barefoot. Okay.
I just don't own any shoes. Like loads of boots.
Oh, okay. All right. Semantically, then you had me scared a little bit, but okay, I got you. You're a boot person. I see. So, okay. So you guys weathered this ridiculous fucking situation, the kerfuffle, as for it will now forever be known, and realized that you had a click between the two of you, and you were going to sit there and do this together.
It was more than that. It was like 2 gigs with D, and it was like I saw what he could do. I saw he's comfortable. I spent a long time in this area. Sort of going back to what previously been talking about, or like people in bands, and it's just like you're looking for somebody that isn't an arsehole, basically.
Right.
Everybody I seem to meet is an arsehole. So, you know, and he's not an arsehole. Oh, I like him, you know.
Hey, I found one.
It was like he played brilliantly live. It was
fun.
I had fun in there.
You guys seem to have similar mindsets too. You're both very open. There's no bullshit. You're up for what you're.
You have room for ego.
Right.
No.
Oh my God. That's
You have any room for ego. So let's learn years ago. Like, drop the ego.
it'll kill everything.
Anyone.
I mean, one of the things I enjoyed is that when I would just relax and get into it, probably Damien, you're enjoying that. You get in the groove into that. You know, we had a fantastic drummer. And we get into the groove. But that was, you know, and it was just seeing that kind of thing. That's when you enjoyed it, or singing some backing vocals, you know, I'm not that singer. But Tom was like, go on, sing some backing vocals, or just drop that one down, or whatever. And it was just a nice space to kind of, you know, enjoy that stuff, which is what it's about. It's about enjoying it. Whatever you do, you've got to enjoy it, because people pick it up if you're not enjoying it, you know. And if you're not enjoying it,
oh yeah. And I mean, there are bands that are not necessarily that great, but they have a blast playing, and that will take you farther than bands that are technically fantastic that look like they're in the Nuremberg trial, you know. And like just so I totally agree with you. And I mean, I the RSB, when I talked to them, the point was brought up, like there are musicians, and there are musicians who are entertainers. And, you know, and some are more just entertainers than musicians, right? So you've kind of got 3 buckets that you could fall into. But the sweet spot is obviously musicians who know what they're doing, who are good at what they do, who also understand that it's a show. Even if it's not a live gig, if you're playing on a record, you're recording, it's a show, you know, and you're exactly right that the listener will feel whether you're in it, not in it, and that'll take them farther or not. So I agree with you completely. And you guys seem to get it, you know, that it's, and I also think being a musician of a certain age, as the 3 of us are, you know, not being a teenager or a 20-year-old, whatever, there's a different perspective on it, right? It's like, okay, well, I could go for guts and glory. I could go for, I'm gonna play with the assholes because I think they're the ones that are gonna get me the record contract, and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And then at a certain point, you have to get comfortable with your music. And it's what you just said, Damo, too, that like the idea that, you know, you just started to get into it. You're on stage and you're feeling it, you know, and that's when I think the magic, even if it's in rehearsal, even if it's in the studio, that's when that magic happens, where you're not self-conscious, you're not.
At that moment and you click.
That's it. That's it.
Click, and magic happens.
And there's nothing like that. I've said it before. The closest thing to it, I think, is great sex. But like, there's nothing like it. It's, you're in it. You know, you're not self-conscious. You're not worrying about it. You're just part of this thing. And I think that the 2 of you clearly seem to come at it from the right angle. So, I mean, when you decided you were going to break off from, you know, Shoegate or whatever and do this thing on your own, what was the first thing? I mean, I know you said The Year You Changed was a pretty early collaboration, but what was the first thing that you guys did together that you said, okay, this is it. This is our first. And what was kind of the songwriting process for that? And just in general, I guess, because I'm curious, because you guys are prolific.
That was
prolific.
Water.
Okay.
It was the same thing. It was in that band. You actually wrote every Lost Day. He wrote something. He wrote a tune, and I took that away. It was very blues based, and that, for songwriting purposes, I started really looking at. It's not up on the internet. All the stuff I'm doing with D is like coming in the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're holding it back. Yeah.
But it was almost an exercise, and I was looking at it, and I started looking at blues and stuff. So that was actually the first thing.
Okay.
I just said about that because I hadn't felt comfortable to just have some lyrics before. I was like, right, and it was that kind of thing. And at the moment, I watched some great films, and I've been talking to Tom about this today. One of them was the documentary on Netflix on Attica, which is just phenomenal.
Okay.
And then another one, it was of the film on Emmett Till,
Okay.
And it was just that connection, and it was just saying, right, how do you express that? Because that's just, that's a really dark part of American history, but how do you express that? So, I kind of put some chords together, wrote some lyrics to it. Tom's taking it on. We're kind of looking at it from another way. He's like, Damien, don't make, what you're writing is great, but it's kind of coming at it a little bit too from the front. Let's try and twist this around. Let's try and make it a bit more abstract. Let's make the people work a bit harder at working out the theme here,
Okay.
And I just find that kind of stuff is just very, very stimulating, and it's great to just say, right, I've got some ideas, put them down. We put the chords down, put the words down, and have that kind of synergy, really, which I'm really enjoying. It's great to have that kind of writing partnership, really, which I love.
Well, and this sounds truly collaborative to me, rather than well, I've done my piece and I'm handing it to you, and now you do your piece, which is still collaborative, which is still good, but it's right.
It's anything is based on an idea. You generally find one person will take it as fuel and make it into something else. But it's bouncing ideas, and it's have you tried this? Have you tried that? What about doing this? It can get quite complicated because you're dealing with people. But once you're relaxed with people, or you're comfortable, and somebody says, "Oh, it's really fucking shit idea,"
that's the thing.
That's right. Once you know the other person doesn't get offended by that,
right?
Or you can back yourself up by doing it,
right?
It changes perspective as well. For me, it's songwriting. I'm really, really into songwriting.
Yeah, you've said you kind of wish that's really what you did, like just to be a quote unquote.
That's what I really, truly want to be. I just want to be a songwriter. That's all. I could spend all day just doing it. Mm-hmm. And like with anything you do, the more you practice, the better you get.
Yeah.
And it's same with songwriting. Sounds really bizarre, but it just becomes a job. I mean, couple of songs that I got up there are just I used to write really depressing songs, and it was like, I'm going to write a happy song.
Yeah. And
I did. And I can do that now.
Right.
Like, and it becomes almost mechanical in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm in this situation. It's like, this is going back to something you said previously. It's like, for me, when I look at people playing, I don't care whether they're good or bad. It's about the soul. And whether they are saying something or the intent is there. I find like professional musicians are over clinical, and it's dead. It's completely dead. I listen to somebody fumble something and laugh, and it's coming from the heart.
And it is you're exactly right too, because like one of the things that I've always been fascinated by in terms of music is the idea that you can take someone and listen to a studio album of theirs, and then you can take someone and you can listen to them live, and they can be a completely different musician in each of those places. And where I really first started to hear that were two specific people. Sheryl Crow, who most of her studio stuff I cannot stand. It is produced to within an inch of its life. I feel like there's no there. It's just, it doesn't connect to me in any way. And then I watched her do a live gig. I don't remember if it was I don't remember what it was, but it was just stripped down. It was her, it was just guitar and vocals and
acoustic.
It was an acoustic, And I'm listening to her and I'm going, holy fuck, she's got all this grit. She's got balls to her voice. She's really interesting. She makes these cool chord choices and note choices. And I was like, I actually guess I like Sheryl Crow. I just don't like Sheryl Crow in the studio. And the other person who really, to me, embodies that more than anyone else is Ani DeFranco. Ani DeFranco, you listen to her stuff, her studio stuff, and it's fine. You know, it's quirky, it's interesting, whatever. She has a live album that I forget. I think it might be a double album. It is one of the best things I've ever heard in my life, and she is raw. And there's a whole song where she's literally about to begin the second verse, cannot remember the lyrics. She's probably sung it 10,000 times, right? And she goes, "Oh, there are words here. I don't know what they are though." And the whole audience has her. They love her. They're with her. They're singing the song that she goes, "Oh, I know." And then she goes right into it and she's back into that. And it's like, oh, you know, and that to me, I love what you just said, because it's like, that's it to me. It's you don't care if somebody fucks up. You care if somebody fucks up if they get pissed about it, or they make a big deal about it, or they shut down about it, or it affects them. Because if you listen to someone, or you're watching someone make music and they're not enjoying it, you can't. It's like trying to have, you know, a rave at a funeral. Like, you can't do it, you know? But like, if somebody fucks up, or if they're just feeling something out, or they hit a wonky note or whatever, and they either roll right by it, or they're like, "Ooh, whoa, okay, let's try that again." They have you. And I think that's the human element. And that, I think, is the thing in music that really gets people.
That for me is why I started going to gigs.
Yeah.
It's not actually to see like how good a band works.
Sure.
See how much they fucked up and how much they covered it. And that's what made it real.
But you've got to have that. You've got to have that environment where you can feel that you can do that. Where if you miss out a verse or middle eight, or you play a wrong chord, that you've got that kind of synergy where you can get back into it. You can get back into it. You don't have, you get flustered, and it adds to it. Then that kind of stuff, like you're saying, Christina, it adds to it. It's when you're kind of in a band where you get a scowl, where you kind of which no one else notices.
Exactly.
You know, apart from what, guitarist or whatever noticing it, you get scowled at, or you know that at the end of a gig you're going to get a post-mortem on which songs you played well and where you missed them. And no one else notices this stuff, and you just got to go with it, relax.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Because it's there's always that guy in the that sits in the back. But you don't want that guy in the band. You know, you don't want that person going where you feel like, when we get home, your father's going to have something to say about that. Like, nobody wants that. And it really, it misses the point of music.
Well, I don't know. If you've got a group like the Brian Jonestown Massacre, it's like, it's an event. When something goes wrong, it's an event, because it just, yeah. It's a show,
But that's fantastic, though, because that I think bands that have personality, whatever it is, those are always going to go farther. They're always going to do better, because there's dimension to it there, and people will go, "Oh yeah, that's this band, or that's this musician."
His band, and that is his band. It's like I've just read about The Fall with Marky Smith.
Okay.
Is Renegade, the book.
Okay.
And that explains him and his attitude. And that I've been listening to The Fall for years, but reading this book was a real eye-opener for me. And it's like, he's controlling something, and if it gets out of hand, he'll throw it away. And he's quite brutal about it, but his upbringing got him to that point. But The Fall's output changes so constantly. Again, he changes. He does something different each time. He's talking about going in, "I've only got enough money to hire this studio, so we're going to sound like that." People didn't like that album. Right. Grown on them.
Yeah.
So that's going. He believes in himself. He's doing what he's doing because he has to do it. And it's it's big respect to him. Massive respect to him.
Yeah. Well, and especially because if you know that in the music industry you are a product, and the goal is like, okay, what products sell the most? There's a reason that all the shit on the radio sounds the same, because that's the formula.
He actually says points where, like, I took the record company's money.
Yeah.
He knew he did.
Yeah.
Really read the book. It's fascinating.
Well, but that's a thing that I think I always think the word is kind of pretentious, but that's a thing that artists tend to have to do sometimes is, you make your big studio blockbuster so that you can go out and produce the indie movie that you really wanted to make. You do what you have to do. And it's a question of, I think you used the word earlier, authenticity, and I think authenticity and it goes so far that it will make a band that is fucking up a bunch more lovable and more connectable than a band that is, and I've told this story before. Greg and I, we always used to go out, when we had a life before the show, we would go out and watch other gigging bands, support them when we weren't playing, whatever. Like, it's just what you do. That's what you should do. You support your community, right? And there is a band around here that is very busy, very, very busy. And they do weddings, they do corporate parties, they do all kinds of stuff. And so we went one night to hear them, and we're on the dance floor, and everybody's, it's like a bunch of, 40 to 60-year-olds, like, doing the electric slide or whatever. Fine. Everybody's having a good time. And Greg and I kind of looked at each other, and I was like, are you having fun? And he was like, no. And I was like, I'm not either. Why? And what we realized was it was almost like listening to AI music. It was, everything was perfect and pretty and boring and empty as fuck. And then the next night we went to see a band that doesn't get a ton of work and, we're really rough around the edges, but they are so authentic and they love what they're doing so much that we had the best time. And it's so funny because if you would put those two people next to each other, if they submitted a tape for a wedding, who's going to get the gig? But like, who do you want to listen to? Got another costume change here, by the way, guys. I feel like this should be a drinking game every time Tom changes. People are going to be blackout. You have to head out, Damo?
No, I'm going to get a hat on in a minute, I think.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
when kind of about 2017, I looked around where we are in North Wales. It's quite rural, and I thought, right, there's no one playing blues here, right? So I'm going to start a blues collective, right? The idea that people just turn up, play, could see what they can contribute, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you used to have people come over, and they were just fantastic. And I wanted to get that same vibe going out around North Wales with this collective, people coming up, playing a bit of harmonica, playing a bit of guitar, doing some old stuff.
Yeah.
And it was going really, really well. And then some real kind of professional types came in, and they started saying, right, there's all that kind of, right, we're going to play the Allman Brothers and we're going to play this.
You changed it.
And it all got, and I was like, no, even though I started, I was like, go on, guys, you take it. And they turned it into a commercial product, right?
Yeah.
They went out at it. And then about 3 years after they were doing this, they said, oh, Damien, we do it just up the road in a pub, come and listen to us. I went and listen to them. And it was like one of those really bad Vegas shows with like, and they were even like bantering and you could, it was almost scripted. The banter was scripted. And I was like, you've taken an idea, turned it into something just to get a few £100 from a wedding or from a pub. And you could see that kind of electric slide vibe going on. And I was like, that and it fell apart after a while.
Yeah. That kind of thing, it kind of has to. But no, and again, that to me, I think largely what we've been summarizing here is the antithesis of Rhinoceros, because you guys are not, and you had said to me, Tom, in one of our back and forths that like, you realized you could be weird as shit. You could be, completely obscure. You could, fuck with people. You could provoke people, not in an antagonistic way or whatever, but like you could basically do whatever you wanted within reason, and there was no reason not to do that. And I think that there's a huge degree of freedom in that, and it's something that I think it's cool that you both feel that way. It's cool that you're both comfortable in that space, because that's not a space that everyone's comfortable in. That idea of just no limits, no rules, no genre, no restrictions, no not no plan, but no prescribed scripted plan where, it sounds like you say, oh, hey, I have this idea for this song from the 60s that most people don't know. And instead of going, no, nobody's going to know that, Tom was like, okay, it's like improv. You always say yes, right? Okay, yeah, fine. What can we do? Yes. And what can we do with that? And that to me, partly it explains why, Tom, especially you've been so prolific, right? Because you do have a lot of music. And it also explains why there is, I felt at least, a wink in pretty much every song that I listened to from you guys. And it wasn't about, it's a joke. It wasn't about, we're not taking it seriously. It's not about any of that. And I know a lot of this stuff is mostly in demo mode, as you said, although, but all of it. So, but I mean, it's, you're not self-serious. And I think that alone in the music brings a lot of joy, even if it's not necessarily like a happy song, the idea that you are making music. And as Damo said, you're just bringing yourself to it and you're being open and you're being honest and you're being vulnerable. And then people will just come in and sit down and listen to what you're doing. And I mean, I don't get the sense that that's your plan. I think that's just how you are.
I think you're right. Yeah, it's organic, it comes from that kind of vibe that we have. It's kind of, you have to work at it though, in the sense that you still have to have the discipline to work. You still have to practice, you know what I mean? And it's that kind of, you have to practice, you have to kind of work at it. We meet every week and practice. We kind of make sure, go through everything, go through stuff. We got a sound we want, there's a sound that we want. We're working out where the harmonies are going to go. We're working out who's playing a bit of lead here, who's backing off on the lead here, how we make it more interesting. So, and Tom's got this nice discipline and we'll make sure there's structure, proper middle eight. So you have to kind of, it's actually harder work to have that kind of freedom.
Yeah, because that could go off the rails real quick. But so Tom, I mean, like from the songwriter standpoint, because that really is where your heart is, when you approach writing a song, does it always begin with a certain thing, lyrics or a riff, or does it depend on the song? How do you generally write?
It's it could come from any bit of inspiration. Could be a tiny little spark somewhere, could be massive spark, but everything that I do is something behind what I've written. You can decipher it, is up to you. But there is a definite, serious, heartfelt message behind every single song. Even the funny, jokey songs have got something behind them.
That's right.
If you want to dismiss it, and that comes from some very, very dark places. I don't think there's a song that I heard of yours that didn't have something to say. And I really appreciate that, because it's funny, I don't really even think of any of them as jokey, but like there are some that really got me. Like Love at First Sight is one of my favorites. I adore that song. I mean, I just, and it's interesting because the lyrics they're very front and center in that one. When you've mixed, and obviously I know you have this whole lo-fi, it's all demo and all of that. So people, will have that context, but some of the songs, the vocals are mixed way back, and it's more about the instrumentation, and some of them, the vocals are very much front and center. And with Love at First Sight, it was like, okay, first I'm like, okay, this is very romantic. And then I'm like, this could be about a parent and a child. This could be, and I love that I listened to it a couple times because I wanted to hear the song, and then I wanted to hear the lyrics, and I wanted to get my read on them, and I wanted to, and I really, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Love You More Every Day for those lyrics. That's what I'm thinking of. But I also love Love at First Sight. But like,
when you do something so vulnerable like that, you know, and I don't get the sense that you just went, oh, I'm going to write a song about this today. Like, I feel like that's you coming out in the music. And so, I mean, it sounds like everything that you write is intensely personal on some level.
A lot of it is, some of it is mechanical because I'm writing about something, maybe my opinion or somebody's opinion is still in there, or a message to say, think about this. So sometimes it's completely blatant.
Right.
Right. You know, I will say that's pretty awful and let's shout about this.
Yeah.
Other times, yeah, like you just said it. It's like, is it a mother and a child? Is it two lovers? Is it applicable to who? And it's like, okay, if anybody can find that resonance in, but it's the message.
Well, so, and I think what I really appreciated about that, and again, I do love at first sight, but the lyrics that I mentioned, guys, are love you more every day, and I think the fact that you can't necessarily pinpoint what it's about, to me, what that means is that you've succeeded in making it very elementally about love, like pure, unconditional love, and that that it could apply to you in whatever context you can relate to that, you know, and I think it's interesting because sometimes you strip things down so much and you have to be bold to do that. You know, you have to trust your lyrics, or you have to trust your voice, you have to trust what you're doing, because it's like cooking, right? You know, and I've used this analogy before that, like, you know, you throw a bunch of shit in a pot and it'll kind of melt together and it'll taste fine, but you can't necessarily figure out exactly what you're eating.
What is it? It's shit.
But like, it's like, oh yeah, this tastes fine. It's not the best thing I ever had, but it's not the worst. But like, if you only use a couple of ingredients, they better be damn good, because you're going to taste every single one of them. And that's why a song like Love You More Every Day, where it really is very, it's not raw, it's not stripped down. Those aren't the words that I want, but you know what I mean? Like, it's very, it's saying what it wants to say.
Yeah. For me, it's like I am saying something and I'm saying that. Yeah. And you said you identify other bits in that. If somebody else took that song and sang it, they would interpret it in their way.
Right.
Which is what I would like to actually hear.
Right.
So pick up the song, take it away. Yeah. Try it, interpret it, see what it comes out like.
But it's good to be able to do that where it isn't because you didn't know what you were talking about. Because there are some songs where it's like, oh, well, I don't really know what this is about. And it's because it wasn't really about anything. And so you can kind of Rorschach whatever you want onto it. But you do have a point of view. You do. And you bring that, but it doesn't preclude everybody else from bringing their point of view to the music, which I think that's a neat high wire act that you're pulling off there, because it's again, not specific is not really the word I want, but it's thought out and it's cohesive enough where you could say, okay, here's what this song is about. And it might be what you meant, or it might not. But there's a difference between it being open to interpretation and it just being confused and meaningless, right? And so I appreciated that there were so many layers and levels to the lyricism, especially in the music, where it's you know, I don't know if what I took from it is what you intended, and it doesn't really matter to either of us. You know, it's just, did you?
It does matter to me, because
does it really? Okay,
you got something out of it.
Right, but you don't care what that was. It didn't have to match your mention, right?
But I do care a lot. Because, I mean, people always come up and say, oh, I love that song, help me through this, or we danced to that, or our first song, and it's like, really? Okay, good for you. So it means different things to different people, and it's always nice to hear a story and how people interpret it. Up to them. I mean, I've definitely got stuff where lyrics are very obscure.
Right. Yeah.
Very obscure.
Yeah.
But
and somewhere they're very direct. So
yeah, but the really obscure ones, if you click into it and actually understand what it is, or get an inkling of what it is, you'll get it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but I'm not going to explain it. Why should I? I don't need to.
Well, that's really the question I was trying to ask you is, you want other people to get something out of it. But does it matter to you if their interpretation matches yours? I don't think. No, it does. Right. Okay. That's what I thought. That's what I was trying to say. It's like, you don't care if what I get out of it is the same as what you intended. You just want me to get something out of it. Right. And
every song at its core, I can't dance for anything. Yeah. But if I can get my hips,
that's right. Damo's got you covered.
That's like, if I can get my hips moving, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So, and it's working. So at the core of every song, there should be that, even the slow ones, there should be that there.
Getting you to move. Okay.
A tune.
Yeah.
Even if it's a discordant tune, there should be a tune. Classic example, brilliant one that I love and nobody seems to like as much. Low Key Bum.
Okay. Why does nobody like it? And why do you like it?
Nobody reacts to that one in a way that I think they do.
Okay.
And it's just one of those things. And it's like you're an artist. You do hundreds of paintings and the one that people like is the one that you hate the most, you know. But look at this one. Don't you want this one? No.
All right. How about this one? I'm like, no, thank you. I want this one over. And that's I think, one of the hardest things about being an artist is like whatever version of that you do, like people will say it all the time about social media. You know, I'll work on a song for 5 months. I'll craft it. I'll put my heart, my soul, my blood, my sweat, my tears into it. I put a post out on Facebook and it's crickets. Like one person likes it. It might be my mom. Right. And then you put up a meme of, you know, a dog, you know, humping a Nickelback CD or something, and it's like 1,000 people like it, and you're like, well, fuck, you know. And I mean, it's hard to get people to care about the right things, if it's okay to say that, because I know the right things are somewhat subjective, but like, you know, it is. I don't think I've ever met a musician or a writer or any kind of an artist who hasn't had that experience of, but what about this one? You go, okay, you like that one. Okay, fine. All right. And it's so frustrating, but you know, that's the thing, right? Is that
can't judge.
You can't control it.
It's impossible to judge.
Yeah.
And nobody will ever figure that. AI will never figure that out.
Nope. It's all that uncanny valley stuff. You can't do it. Yeah.
It's not going to slag him off like Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran is the biggest thing going. And it's like, he's so plain and safe. I'm not saying he's bad,
but he does what he does. He does what he does.
He's had the #1 best-selling album for 4 years.
Jesus, is that true?
It's massive.
I didn't realize that.
He's the decade time.
I only listen to indie music anymore, so I didn't even know that. But yeah, okay.
I think he earns more than Taylor Swift.
But the trouble with it now is that because of this whole thing, because of all that stuff, everybody is so image conscious. They're image conscious. They're filtering everything. They're polishing everything up, and we're in danger of, when you get this stuff, that it all goes through this kind of mirror, this prism of perfection and filters, and you're just losing it. You know, you're losing that reality. You know, and
yeah.
And
I was really hoping that hat was going to come out. I'm listening to you, Damo, I swear. But you're right.
So I've got that hat. It's just the hat, you know.
That's my favorite.
But yeah, you don't want you can see through it. You see through polish. You see through that kind of brandizement of it all, and you just got to not become a brand that has to produce something. We've kind of said that all the way through, but and that's what's happening. That's what people are seeing, and people are putting out what they think people want, and you just got to put lots of stuff out, and if people chime with it, you've got a hit. That's worth it. You know, it doesn't matter who it is, what it is, what aspect of it is. If someone connects with it, someone chimes with it, you've done it. That's your job done, isn't it?
Well, and I think it's interesting too, because not to get esoteric here, but like tastes and what's popular change all the time, right? You know, like, you know, hundreds of years ago, you know, the most attractive women were the biggest women on the planet. Now, you know, if it's like you eat a grape, that's it. You're the wrong size, you know, and like it changes over time. And music too, like what's popular, what isn't popular. And I think that there's a level of that just, if you get caught up in that, you're in trouble. And it's the main reason, besides just being comprised of fantastic people, that I love this indie music community so much, because you have people just making what they feel, what they want to make, what they want to hear, what they want to put out into the world. And you know, you've got people that are doing completely different things from each other. You can have a death pigeon, a mechanic a freaky things, a superposition. And you know, and an AOD, of course, I have to mention Anger Overdose every episode, Lily, but you know, and a Rhinoceros, and none of that sounds anything like any of the rest of it, like none of it. And there's something not only for everyone in terms of, oh, well, you know, I feel like listening to something that's vaguely country, you know, I'm going to go over here to Drunk and Lonely, and then, oh, well, I only like, you know, black metal or whatever, I'm going to go listen to Isaac Van. And it's also that you get to hear things that you don't get to hear anymore. You don't hear the stuff on the radio that people in the indie music community are putting out, because it's not the thing. You know, the zeitgeist is for this kind of shitty, and I always feel like my parents, you know, I'm like, music today sucks. And I know there's good music out there today that's popular, but I get so much more out of listening to the unsung bands, because they're not playing that game.
Like, for example, you know, I remember seeing Leo Capaldi when he came out, right?
Oh, wow, yeah.
I was blown away by it. I thought,
yeah, same.
This guy has written some new music, very refreshing, and soul bass, right?
Yeah.
Then I watched the documentary.
I haven't seen that.
Everybody got hold of it, right? And it's like, write that one. You know, use that lyric. Do it in that way. It's got to have that capacity. And the authenticity and all that brilliance, they just have to polish out.
Oh, that makes me sad. Like, yeah.
Let's make it formulaic. That's what you... Oh, no, you can't do anything else. You've got to write a sad, introspective song on 3 chords and a bit of piano.
Right, because that's what the people want from you.
Did you see his Glastonbury show?
Yeah, well, no wonder why the poor guy's cracking.
That was like... Well, he's got Tourette's.
Right. I mean,
basically, he said it a year ago. The pressure was getting to him.
To him, yeah.
And he took time off for Glastonbury, and he did his Glastonbury show, and he actually broke down on it.
Yeah.
And he forgot the words.
And the audience had him.
Say the word, and the audience picked him up and carried him.
It was beautiful.
And the look on his face was just like...
Yeah. But that whole Glastonbury thing, right? There's some great bands at Glastonbury, but everybody wants to hear the stuff like they want to hear on the record. They want to hear, right, you know, it's almost like...
I mean, don't you think that's a lot of, like, you know, I mean, I've been to concerts where, you know, Sting will come out and play a new thing, or, you know, like whatever band will come out and play a new thing, and everyone's like, yeah, okay, play Every Breath You Take, you know, and it's like, well, fucking hell, you know, like, I mean...
Look, that's your curse, though. You've written a hit song, you're obliged to play it.
Exactly.
Get over it.
And then if you have the audacity to try and rearrange it, God help you, because people would say, that's not how it goes. And it's so funny to me, because it's like having a pet that you love so much that you pet it and all its fur comes off, right? It's like the thing that makes you love a Louis Capaldi or a Sting or a whoever in the first place can be the thing that destroys it. I mean, they're all obviously still doing okay, but like, you know, and I think that that's one of the things that the indie community is kind of protected against, because there is freedom in relative anonymity. There is freedom in being unsigned and not belonging to a label. There is freedom in not necessarily even making the music because you think you want to get signed or you think you want to become the next whatever. And that's the most real, to use an overused word, that it gets, right? And so like I can sit and listen to Rhinoceros and I can go, okay, where am I going here? And again, like some of my favorites, because, you know, I want to talk a little more specifically about some of the music, and I did love that song. And it was so funny because it's this is the weirdest thing, but like when the drum beat came in, I'm thinking Run DMC, right? And I'm like, where are we going with this? I'm
led into that. I saw
right. And it's like, I'm like, where are we going with this, right? And then the guitars come in, and I start to hear some Four Non Blondes, and I'm like, okay, Four Non Blondes and Run DMC, I'm in. Okay. Then your Bono vocals come in, right? Real big. And then I'm hearing some Bowie chord progressions and all what, and I'm going, this thing is here and then here and then here and then here, and it works, and I don't understand how it works, and I don't know why it works. And I came away from it going, okay, this was a standout for me. And it wasn't anything I could really, I mean, that's the best I could describe it. But, you know, if you happen to know what it sounds like now, okay, so there you go. But I mean, it's completely different from a Love You More Every Day. It's completely different from an I'm in Love. It's completely different from an I'm Just Complicated. And I loved all of those, right? So like, and I think that you really have managed to, you know, it just occurred to me as I'm saying that there is so much confidence in your music. And it's not arrogance. People get that confused because confidence is quiet and arrogance is loud, right? So there's confidence in it in the sense of, I'm going to make what I'm going to make, and you're going to get it or not get it, like it or not like it, take it or leave it. And, you know, cool. I have, you know, dozens of other stuff that you can try next and see what you think. So there's confidence just from that. But there's also a real confidence in being comfortable in your own skin. And that is something that, like for me, because I'm generally not, which people tend to be surprised by when they watch this show and they think whatever, but like I'm always overthinking, right? And so when I recognize that in places and I go, okay, this is someone who's very self-possessed, who knows, you know, what they're doing and where they're going. And even if they don't, they're cool with that too. They're cool with, let's see where this goes. Let's see what this becomes. Let's see what I'm going to make today. And are not shackled, as we've kind of been talking about, by any expectation or limitation or genre or, you know, whatever. But like, I found that I found it very sexy, for lack of a better word, but I mean that like mentally, right? So it's like the idea of like, okay, you know, there's something about that makes a listener feel in very good hands, because it's not timid. It's not cautious. It's just, you're in it. And I think that ties into everything we've been talking about tonight, where, you know, whether it's on stage, whether it's, you know, in a rehearsal, whether it's, you know, just sitting on a lawn somewhere with an acoustic guitar, or whether it's, you know, in a studio produced thing, or just, you know, something that you did in your basement or whatever. When people can key into something like that, you know, that idea of like, yeah, we got this, let's just do this. We're here to have a good time. We're here to say something. We're here to get back to the point of it. That always gets me listening in a different way. You know, that makes me curious. And I think curious is a really good place to live, right? Because then you're curious, you're open, you're interested, and you're receptive. So, I mean, it's funny to me because the way that you guys posited all of this in the first place was, oh, you know, it's all lo-fi, it's all demos, you know, like some of it isn't very good or whatever. And I was like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be expecting here, but like, that isn't what I got, you know, and what I got was actually bigger than the music itself. It was more like this worldview that you guys have, you know, or this philosophy, whatever you want to call it. It's what you've been describing of, you know what, like, we're going to do what we're going to do. And not like a fuck you, we're going to do what we want anyway. But like, just, you know, let's explore, let's be creative, let's have fun, let's say something, let's make something that means something. And I just, on a meta level, I really appreciate that. I really do, because it's thoughtful, but it's not overthought. And I think that's a cool balance to strike. So, I mean, to get back to it, in the songwriting, like, since you said it can be any kind of an inspiration, do you tend to write lyrics earlier, later? Each of you, like, I know, Damo, you said like you'll write lyrics and you'll bring them to Tom and Tom will turn them into something else. But Tom, are you, as a songwriter, do you think of yourself primarily as a lyricist? Is it more instrumental? Is it both in balance?
It's both.
Okay.
Both. It could be anything.
Okay.
If you play the guitar, it's a nice riff, like that riff.
Okay.
Find a tune with it, stick words on it, sort of splurge it down. Okay. Get the pattern going, and look at it and go, does that mean anything? No. Is it meant to mean anything? No. It does mean something. What am I saying? Okay, all right. Yeah. What's this about? Oh, yeah, it's about that. A lot of it is letting it come out.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, when you're writing lyrics and that, you just got to make sure it's real, and you've got to make sure you're not under pressure, you know.
Yeah.
You can't be trying to rhyme everything all the time, or you just got to say writing what comes out, what comes through the ether when you're saying it and what you feel. You say, if you write what you feel and you can put that together in a nice melodic way, you're halfway there, you know. When people kind of think too much about how this is going to sound, or what was the person going to think about when they listen to it, and I think Tom, you know, his lyrics, he writes from himself, he writes from the heart. He's not self-conscious about what he's writing. He's not self-conscious about what someone's going to say. And you've got to be in that space and have that safe space in a band, whatever, where you can do that. Otherwise, it does become contrived and it does become too formulaic, and people can so easily go down that trap. You know, we got to have an upbeat middle eight. We got to do this. We got to do that. This is how we got to do it. And you just get rid of it all. You just lose all that beauty of it all, you know, that you're trying to create, you know.
Well, and I think that one of the other things that I found interesting about the songs in general is that while they do adhere to a song structure in some ways, they're not as aggressively verse, chorus, bridge, chorus out as a lot of music is. There's much more of this
is the realization. It's like, I don't have to abide by rules.
Right.
Yes, the rules are there, and if you want to use them, use them. But who's to say you can't?
Right.
There's a lot of influence of externally now from music platforms. The listening time has reduced.
Yes. Right, because nobody has an attention span anymore.
Influences have changed. It's keeping a beat. You don't need the lengths of songs that you used to have years ago,
right? Because
people can't actually listen to them,
right?
So that there's that influence on it, and there's also like, who's to say I have to do that?
Yeah, no,
there's no one. Why can't I do that? Who's that?
Yeah,
screw that. It's like,
but I think that's really cool too, because, but I mean, someone could listen to one of your songs and go, this is all verse, or this is all chorus, you know, and when you do that, not to get too existential or whatever, but like when you do that, it almost makes you realize, well, what does it really matter? Right. I mean, I think it is, we as humans, we are drawn to classification. You know, when kids are little, they want to know what color something is, what shade something is, you know, how many of something there are. We like to classify things, right? And then as we get older, we start to do that too. Oh, okay, they're the nerds and they're the jocks and they're the preps and they're the stoners. And oh, okay, well, you know, these are the yuppies and the whatever. And we like to put things in buckets and piles and whatever. And I think it's because it allows us to order things that make us feel safer and more comfortable, right? And then there are the people who hate to do that. They hate to classify anything. They hate to put anything in a bucket or a box or a pile, because their whole thing is, I just want to do whatever comes to me. I want to do whatever. And again, not in a way of just like, oh, I'm just going to go pee on the Mona Lisa or whatever. But it's like, you know, I'm not hurting anybody by making a song that isn't verse, chorus, bridge, chorus out. I'm making my own music. And it does, when you take away those things, when you take away those structures, or you invert them or change them or subvert them and reorder them or whatever, it does
jazz.
Exactly.
There we go.
There you go. That's
easy.
Well, and it's true. I mean, jazz to the point where, you know, you play a wrong note once and it's a wrong note. You play it 2 or 3 more times and now it's jazz, right? But like
jazz, yeah,
exactly. But it does make you realize that, or at least it did while I was listening to it, that you really don't need that. You don't need it. We come to expect it, you know, that the song is going to be the way that it is. And I think that the problem with that is that now, you know, people look for the hook. Where's the hook? Is the hook going to be the chorus? And I don't want to listen to a song that we're waiting for the chorus.
That's like I say, I want to put a hook into a song. I want to put a chorus into a song to make people drawn in. If you listen to people like Scott Walker, what he was doing, It was like, I mean, he went completely out there, and people struggle with that. But he has this core audience that he'll never lose.
Right.
And it's like the depth of the music. You can listen to it again and again and again and again and again, and it just bears that repeating.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. But okay, if you want to be popular, you have to write something that will attract.
But I think the thing that's interesting is that because we are so, as a people, compelled to classify, that's where the whole idea of a hook comes from, right? It's the idea that, okay, there's something in a song that people are going to go, oh, this is the earworm. This is the part that everyone's going to be driving around singing, or, that's the part they're going to splice out and put in a video of people twerking on TikTok or whatever. But the thing is that when people and I mean, maybe this is not true, but generally, I think until the last, couple of decades at least, I don't think that Don Henley or Sting or, Pink Floyd or whatever was sitting down and going, okay, we got to write a hook, right? Wow. They wrote shit. There were hooks in them, and they made people love those songs, and the songs themselves obviously also good, but it's like, oh, they're, but now it's like we're reverse engineering the enjoyment of music. Oh, well, to enjoy it, there has to be a hook. To enjoy it, there has to be this structure.
It's bland and mechanical.
It's right. Everybody to the same kind of major chords. I mean, people don't listen to albums. They can't have filler. Some songs are filler. It's okay to have filler. You don't have to have everyone banging out there, making going in a big G chord, singing everything. And that, and you got to release from that. You got to let that go. If that's what people want, if that's the way to, the only way you're going to do it is doing that. We might as well all be S Club 7. You know what I mean? We're all going to jump on stage. We're all going to sing those songs. That ain't going to happen.
And we're going to be wearing the right shoes while we do it. That's right.
This is nice thing. That one piece. Don't know if I'm getting that one piece anymore.
Well, who knows? If we stay on long enough, we may see it underneath everything else. But you're right, Damo. And I mean, it's that notion of, there's a difference. And that's why you'll get those weird fucking one-off songs that blow up out of nowhere. And people are like, wait, what? Why do we like this now? And it's because I think it's usually those things are not written to fit the formula. It's just its own fucking weird little gizmo in the corner, and it's doing its thing. It's like being at a dance and everyone is doing, the Macarena or whatever. And there's, Michael Stipe in the corner doing this thing. And eventually people are going to go, I'm going to go over there and do that because I'm tired of it. But like, that's the stuff that you can't engineer. You can't make that mechanical. You can't plan for that because it's almost inherently counterculture. And I always think it's ironic when counterculture things become popular because it's like, now what is it? But like, that's what I think is getting lost and has been getting lost in music, and
it's art.
Yeah.
It is art. And it's like everybody says, oh, that will never sell. That will never sell.
Yeah.
What does it do? Sells. But then everybody starts doing it.
Right.
But you mustn't put it under a microscope. You mustn't, whatever you do, people like it. You don't get sucked up on that. You don't try and repeat it. You don't put it under a microscope. You say, okay, we did that, move on. Let's do something
but
else.
That's what always, oh goodness, I don't know what's coming now, but that's what always happens, right? Is like somebody makes a movie like The Sixth Sense. Yeah. Or somebody makes a movie like, whatever, like something popular, right? And it's great and everybody loves it. And then what do? They do the movie 2, the movie 3, the movie 4, die movie,
commercial.
Whatever. And
it's the commercial side of it.
And then you'll start to see a ton of people making movies that have a twist ending or movies that are and it's the difference between original thought and authenticity and trying to capitalize on something that's popular, right? And I think that what we're doing now that's so weird is, in more popular music, we're we're almost in this weird game of telephone where somebody did something, everybody's doing that now. Like for a while, I think T-Pain was on every song that came out. Like it was just, oh, we need T-Pain coming in and going in the back or whatever. First of all, T-Pain can sing, right? But like, because he was the auto-tune guy, that was his thing. And then everybody had to have it, right? And then that became a meme of sorts. And then somebody comes in and iterates on that. And then everybody's aping that. And then they add something to that. And it's like making a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, right? So, I mean, oh, look at this. Is this gold lame and ruffles?
This is his Elvis costume, right?
Holy shit. Rhino Elvis Saucerus. I may not let you change again, Tom, because I feel like it's not going to get any better than this. I don't think so.
But up the game next. We'll get shoes, I suppose.
Oh no. Then I'll feel like I've ruined you. But no, I mean, look, and this is fun because it's cool. It's very Rhinoceros that we're having this kind of meta conversation about the band and the music and the songs and kind of its place relative to and, juxtaposed against what, the industry is doing and all that other stuff. But I mean, I think the fact that you guys have an identity in not having an identity.
We're the geeks.
But I mean, I so admire that you both have not lost the thread, that it's, yeah, but it's really, it's very freeing to be able to say, okay, you know what, like, we're going to make a bunch of stuff and some people are going to like some of it. Some people are going to like all of it. Some people aren't going to like any of it. Some people are going to like one thing or whatever. That's not going to define what we're going to do next. And so in that vein, what are you going to do next is kind of my big question, because you guys are woodshedding a whole bunch of stuff from what I can gather. So is this an album? Is this going to be singles?
Next. Okay. We'll always be round and about making stuff. Thing to do is actually all the demos are out there because people keep coming up and asking, and they say, have you got any music? And it's like, no. What are you going to do? All right. So posted loads of demos.
There you go. Now it's out.
There you go. Shut up. Leave me alone.
Go away now.
I'll work on them when I can be bothered,
Oh, you want me to actually make it hearable? Okay, fine.
Right. But here's the secret, okay? 4 months ago, Rhinoceros had 4 followers on Facebook. Hadn't released any music, hadn't done anything. Well, it's not a cartoon band, but it's the face of a cartoon. Behind it is something very real. There is music and the band behind it. Okay, so from those demos, what I would like to do, whether it would actually happen, but you said it before, it's like if I took that music and we actually recorded it properly and we released it properly on Facebook. Now I've gone from 3 followers and I think we're up at 750. That's without releasing anything. Nothing. Nobody's even heard our music. Yeah. To get 750 followers, we can't even get a gig without 1,000 followers. So everybody watching this, please like the page. We can go and get a gig.
Yeah, there you go. And then there'll be more music and you can actually hear it.
In Nova Scotia or Adelaide, we've got 1,000 followers. Give us a gig. Yeah, all right, you've got 1,000 followers. That's the first thing.
I think you're right. Yeah.
The industry.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I know bands that have got 2,000-3,000 followers. They go to play a gig, they play to 3 people.
Yeah. It's like, we'd like to thank Barry for coming out tonight. Yeah, no, I know that's where people need to be really aware that the numbers don't mean anything. Because I've talked to people who have tens of thousands of followers and they got, less of a reception on things than people who have, 150. It doesn't mean
There's
anything.
that thing people, I mean, on your pages, people talk about organic posting, and it's like, yes, that is your savior, that is your blessing. But I want to play that gig, so give me
Right.
a
I think
Like, guys, just for the memes alone, you should go to their page, because there are frequently posts where you have to search the image and you will see rhinoceros or the logo or whatever. They're very clever, and it's very catchy, like I enjoy that. It's almost like a Far Side calendar, every couple days going in and seeing like, okay, now it's on the side of an old car. Now, it's just a little logo on a t-shirt popped in or whatever. You do what you got to do, right? Because you do need those numbers, because those are the people it matters to, the venues, the bookers. They give a shit about that stuff. And it's ridiculous because, as you said, it could be me in New York. Am I going to be flying to see you in a show on the weekend? No,
I
can't.
hope so.
Of course I am. I'm on the plane right now. You just can't.
Excellent.
But like it's, so that just goes to show you, like, okay, yeah, the idea should be, well, look at what a following they have. That's how many people are going to be buying drinks at the bar if we book you. They're not even in the same country, so it's. But guys, please help them out.
This is also
Get
part
them
of
the
the
gig.
plan. Okay, it's like this is ultimately going to be the idiot's guide on how to form a band. And how
You do have a little tag on that on your Joy Division cover in the YouTube, guys.
Keep following that. Keep following. Keep join the club. Join the ride. We might fall flat on our faces, but we will laugh about it, pick ourselves up, and carry on. But out of those 750 followers I've got now, hopefully, we will go and record some of the demos. From sticking up those demos, I can see which are the more popular songs or the less popular songs.
Okay.
So that's a
You
good
sort of
start.
pick those to start with,
less popular songs and start with them.
I knew it.
and then crack
The most Tom thing ever.
Why did the easy thing? Nah. Right. But with those 750 followers, if I was releasing a single every 2 months, my plan was to do. Have you ever heard of The Wedding Present?
I don't think so.
In indie bands from England, go and look them up. They did something. They released a single a month,
Okay.
which was unheard of at that time. Unheard of. So I would quite like to do something like that.
I think
You don't know what's coming next month.
Right.
So actually, you're going, oh, the next single's up. Okay, what's this going to be?
Yeah.
It's like, it could be anything. It could be my balloon squeezing from track 18 from previously, It's like
A highlight. Yeah. Absolutely.
last moment. Yes.
What were you going to say, Damon?
I was just gonna say, I think we got to get that. We got to get some live experience, really. Get some gigs on that. I mean, but if we get some support, we can support people. Get that kind of thing going.
Yeah.
And that's what you really need, is to get some support, get some live, get out and about. You've got to work at this. You can't just do it all from the safety of your home. You have to go out there. You have to put yourself out there. You have to try and do that work. And without, that's what it used to be. The old-fashioned way is you go out there and gig. And if it is one man and his dog, so be it, But you just keep trying. You keep getting out there. You try and support some bands that have got the same ethos, the same ideas, same kind of freedom. And that's the way I think you got to get out there. And it's difficult because you're in North Wales and the live music scene isn't as fantastic here. But Manchester, Liverpool's up the road. They got fantastic pedigree. So get out and about and do some gigs out there. It'd be great.
Well, and that it's one of those things where it's like, oh, well, in order to, get a loan, you need to have, this, or, in order to get this job, you need to have 10 years of, work experience, but nobody will hire you because you don't, it's like, so yeah, you need to get a live gig to get experience, but you have to have fans to get a live gig. And then how are you going to get fans if you don't play? And so it gets very tricky,
you see, we can go to a gig and for 12 times in a row, I can say, this is a single. So
yeah, I mean, look, it's I think that the takeaway here for everybody watching is they want to play a gig. They only need like 250 more followers. We can do that. That's not a problem. That's nothing. We sneeze at that around here, the Band Together community. It's a pittance. So let's make that happen. And then that way they can take, they'll take video of the gig. and then they'll put it up on their Facebook page and we can all watch it. So look at that.
The other thing to emphasize is we are the best opening act for any other.
Yes. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not that. We don't want to be the headliners. We just want to be the
Opening act. Okay. I like that.
Make them look really good.
So you're like the ugly friend. Is that what you're telling me?
We're the very ugly friend.
A very ugly friend. In the fabulous Elvis outfit, though, I don't know. If you put the shoes on, that may just complete the whole thing.
That's true.
We got to come back. If you had buttered the shoes, Tom.
If I had.
See, you needed to have met me longer ago. I would have guided you down this path. So, all right.
Sleep on the ruby slippers then.
I actually had a pair of those, but I won't get into that. But all right. So listen, to sum up before we wrap up here, one thing I really want everybody watching to do is if you have liked anything that this band has said tonight, and I know that you have, because especially the core group of people watching this right now, they love a band that does not play by the rules, that does what they want to do, that makes what they want to make, that's real and authentic and not about bullshit. So since you guys already like them, if you haven't already, go and listen to the music, go like and follow their page. You've liked and followed stuff, a billion times before. Just go ahead and do that. Help them out, because those who gig out know these venues do look at these numbers. It's stupid, but they do. So help them out so that they can get on stage. So that's one thing. And also go through, listen, and then tell Tom who you think they sound like, because he's curious. See that? But really, there is a lot of music out there, guys. And first of all, if you like U2, Simple Minds, if you like In Excess, if you like the Smithereens, if you like the Strokes, if you like pretty much any band, they're going to sound like that to somebody. So you go right ahead and listen to those. And then we will.
We sound like Rinoceros.
There you go. That's it. With no H. Remember that. No H. But and really, I'm looking forward to whatever you do decide to put out next that I can listen to without having to fly anywhere, because I appreciate that. But I really I dig the fact that you guys are so unaffected by popularity, and I mean that in the sense of it's not stressing you out that you don't have 10,000 followers. It's not stressing you out that you have to make something hooky and popular and expected. And I really do think that that's where the best kind of art comes from. It's just being honest. And as we've said, authentic and wanting to say something, whatever that is. So all of that said, before I let you go, as you may or may not know, we like to end every episode with a little segment that we call In the Vox Seat. So everyone who has been on the show, I have asked the same 5 questions, and people used to really hate one of them. Lately, it hasn't seemed to be such a bugaboo, but we'll see. And the final question, I will warn you, has become a polarizing issue like none other. You may think that religion, politics, nope, it's the final question. So just make sure your loins are properly girded. You have 4 before we get there, but I will warn you that his loins are right there on the hat. But okay, so first question is, and good luck with this one, if you had to summarize, and you may not even do this now, Tom, but if you had to summarize Rhinoceros's music in 5 words or less, what the hell would you say? Each of you.
5 each.
Yep.
Authentic.
There you go.
Authentic. Eclectic.
Okay.
Exciting. Introspective. And available.
Now you said end available, right?
And available.
Okay, for a second I was like, he didn't say unavailable, did he? Well, it was before you put the demos up, but yeah, okay, so great. I like those. All right, Tom. I've rarely been this interested in what somebody's going to say. Well, that too, but I'm really curious if you're even going to answer it, but if you are, what you're going to say. It's probably going to be 15 words, isn't it? Because you just know what people
I'm going to keep it to 5.
Look at this. Okay. All right. I've reined him in.
Got to count to 5 now. Right. Got to think about this. Rock.
Yeah.
Pop. Indie. Garage.
Surf. Different. Okay. I like it. Look at him. You even counted backwards. I like it. Even the way he counts with his fingers is counterculture. Yeah, your hand looks very blurry. It's weird. I don't know why that is, but okay. All right. So you both did it. You took different approaches, but I appreciate that. So talk to me about each of you, your favorite thing about being a musician.
Okay, I think the favorite thing is freedom to create and not giving a shit and not worrying about the boundaries and just enjoying it and enjoying that thing that you were saying where what you produce is better than what you could do individually. It comes together. That's that freedom when you're playing that stuff.
I like how you took like 12 things, but you put them under the label of freedom.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you get away with that, Damo. That was well done. But that's a very popular concept on this show. That idea of just I can make things and I have a legacy and I can create what I want, and that's no one can take that from me. So always love that answer. All right, Tom, is it the costume changes, the hat and the shoes, or what is it?
They cannot take our freedom. I can't really better that one. I'm just going to say expression.
I like that too, because it that means a couple of things. So I like that. Okay, I'm not going to speak for you, but I like it. And look at that. He used even fewer words for that one than the one that was numbered. So okay. Flip side, your least favorite thing about being a musician.
People in bands that don't like people's shoes.
I knew that was going to come up somewhere. Okay. All right. The shoe divas among us. Okay. And we'll expand on that for Damo, the idea of people who get focused on the absolute fucking wrong thing and blow up something good for something that means absolutely nothing. So, all right, Tom, I know you're not.
Assholes.
Okay. So it's kind of the same answer. Gotcha. All right. Assholes. That's my least favorite thing about people in general is the assholes. Yeah. So I gotcha. Okay. So this is the one that I'm curious, because we didn't really talk too much about influences, but if you each had to pick just one album to listen to for the rest of your life, and it's the only one you get, what album are you choosing and why?
For me, I've thought about this a lot, and it would have to be the first Stone Roses album. I know that a lot of people must say that.
Stone Roses, okay.
Stone Roses' first album is just every single song is beautiful. Every single melody, it just hits you in the soul for me. That is just, that I can go, that doesn't age. That is just.
No, it's a great album. Yeah. I like that. You're the first Stone Roses we've had on this show. Look at that. All right, Tom, it's Britney Spears, right?
I'm a bit gobsmacked, to be honest.
By this question?
Yeah, my answer's going to be, you're going to go, okay. I would have picked Now 3021 just for the variety, but I'm not. I would have picked our album with the 20 different songs on, number 18 being my particular favourite with the balloon squeaking, but I'm not. What I'm actually going to say is the second Stone Roses album, second.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. Okay.
That's completely independent of D there. Okay.
That's pretty spectacular. I think if we needed any more evidence that you two were meant to be in a band together, that was pretty much it. Because not only did one of you go for Stone Roses, not only did both of you go for Stone Roses, but you went for two different albums. So
and they're the only albums. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, it's going to be one or the other, I suppose. But okay, Stone Roses across the board. I love it. Okay, all right, guys. Give me a minute, because this is the last question, and I have to settle the crowd, okay? Because Freaky has already told us that he's leaving, that this doesn't matter. Nope, nah, that he likes you guys. Don't fuck it up. Dom has resigned quietly. There's a lot riding on this. This may or may not get you your 250, okay? But here it is. You have to answer honestly. Your toilet paper rule. Does the toilet paper come from over the top or under the bottom, and why?
Well, I'm lucky to have toilet roll in my house. That's a luxury, you know. That is a luxury.
That raises a lot of questions that I'm not going to ask, but okay.
But if it comes from underneath, man. It's just neater, you know. It's got to come from underneath.
Dom, you got one. Okay? All right. I'm not going to say it right now because I'm going to let Tom answer. But the is there a why to the underneath? Because the chat is absolutely on fire right now. So you're gonna wanna throw some more fuel on that fire. Go right ahead.
I just think it's aesthetically much more pleasing to have that thrown with the underneath toilet roll. I just think that just makes it
aesthetic.
It's an aesthetic, you know.
Okay. And this is a medical professional, people. Okay.
Yeah.
We have an under. Tom, I'm fully expecting you to say that you put the paper towel roll on that hat and just wear it into the bathroom like that.
No.
Not on a Saturday.
In Rinoceros Towers, we generally don't have toilet paper. So that's the way it goes. This is to address like Grimrock and Jamsteak and Anger Overdose, who I saw previously having this conversation with an industrial one. I can give you a very definitive answer about this.
Okay.
Right. Now, this is not from experience or knowledge or anything like that. This is from trained professional people all the way up to the higher echelons of society.
Holy shit. Okay.
Okay. These people instruct other people on etiquette.
And toilet paper. Okay.
Toilet paper is included in the etiquette.
Okay.
You must always go over the top and face outwards.
Well, guys, it was nice to be the last interview that Rhinoceros did before they broke up. This is a bigger thing than the shoes. Forget it now. It's all done, everything they said. So we have a band divided. We have a north and south. We have an east and west. We have a black and white. We have an under. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you, Damo, you are in a very exclusive group. It's something like 40 something people agree with Tom. And I think you might be maybe number 11, number 12 on the under, but you have Freaky. Are you okay? Are you all right? Because Freaky, the last time someone said under, I believe it was Shannon Darcy, and Freaky has been trying to save her at all costs ever since. So Damo, you may be getting a DM from a band called Freaky Things if you don't already know them. It may be a bit of a cult-like propaganda campaign, just to warn you. And Dom, you get to gloat for once. That almost never happens. And Tom, Freaky, you can follow them if you don't already because Tom said over. So see, we have a little something, as we do musically, for everyone in the toilet paper debate. In this final question here, they have managed to be egalitarian to the very end. And I think you guys nailed it. You're gonna fly past that 1,000, by the next day after this airs. So, okay, listen, you two have been a blast. I really enjoyed this conversation. I really enjoyed the perspectives that you two bring to it, the costume changes, the hats, the shades, the lack of shoes, the vaping and the disappearing into space. And we've had all kinds of things, and we have a new under for the tally. So I feel like this was a blockbuster episode. I do.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Christina.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you very much. You're very welcome. And guys, calm down. Okay, calm down. He's allowed to put his toilet Freaky. Stop it. Freaky. I'm going to talk to you later. Guys, that's it. It's another Vox and Guest in the books. We will see you next time. Bye.
Ciao. Bye.